We had a little week off, got a little hopefully rested and recharged to now take us through the high school football season. I think we're kind of in week 3. I feel like some guys have actually played 5 games. It really varies. But we're going to get everyone caught up. What's going on? The players we thought were good, are they playing well, and vice versa? And we have a lot to cover this show. So we're going to get right into it. No small talk. First things first, the Elite 11. Quarterback is king. We all know that. We play in Superflex leagues, 2 QB leagues in the college fantasy space. And so we need to stock up on the best QBs. Let's get an Elite 11 update. So the guys who played in the Elite 11, competed in the Elite 11. This is a nice graphic, not a C2C original graphic. We borrowed this. However, these are the guys who participated and kind of what's going on with their stats. You've got passing stats, rushing stats here, and team record. Let's start off with the 90 Star Index Club. Now, if you've been watching this show, you know Star Index is a metric. We've gone over it a lot, but 90 for quarterbacks is really where we want to shoot for future NFL potential. That seems to be kind of first-round picks generally are 90 or above in the Star Index. That club this year for 2025 is Deuce Knight, Matt Zollers, Husan Longstreet, as well as Bryce Underwood, who did not participate in the Elite 11. Matt, I'll throw it to you first. Deuce Knight, looking pretty good. The stats look great on this one right here. He seems to be playing really well. Is he who we thought he was during the summertime?
Now, I don't want to be the biggest Debbie Downer here because I am high on Deuce Knight. He had a fantastic Elite 11. I feel like he carried that momentum from the summer into the beginning of this season. The big thing is, though, the competition is still not the best. I mean, if we're looking at the Max Preps SOS, I believe his first 2 weeks, I believe the teams were 1 SOS and 8. So, I mean, that's pretty low level. I think the average for most recruits we see is around 26, last I checked, of the Max Prep strength of schedule. So, obviously it's good to see that, his completion percentage is way higher than was last season. He's not throwing picks, and, he's just playing very well in the games they did play in. He's currently a little bit banged up from last week's game. But yeah, so, a little lukewarm take there. But, I mean, obviously we did want to see the completion percentage go up a lot this year. And, it definitely has so far. And, he played against this competition last year as well. So it's not like he's suddenly performing good now that he's playing against lower competition.
Sure. Yeah, completion percentage up is real nice. Still running 12 for 123. You like to see that. And then currently leading the nation in QB rate for high school guys who the database denominator there is going to be they have a 24/7 composite rank and have stats on Max Prep. So maybe there's someone hanging around that has better, but for most of the relevant prospects, he leads the nation in QB rate. You got to like that. David, I'm going to throw it to you. 2 guys who we like. They're over 90 Star Index, but some nagging injuries. One, not a nagging injury. He's out for the season. Give us a brief update on what you're looking at with Husan Longstreet, as well as what seems to be everybody's kind of almost a cult hero, I feel like, Matt Zollers these days.
Yeah, Husan Longstreet, I mean, with all production needs context, and you see the 0 touchdown passes with 2 interceptions there, not a whole lot of rushing in his first few games. He was still battling a foot injury. We saw that he had some sort of cast situation at the Elite 11. You could tell that he was a little apprehensive, trying to get back into the swing of things. So I'd kind of throw away the first couple of games, but the last game he did run. He did have 10 carries for 140 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. Did throw 2 more interceptions. So I think he's got 2 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the season so far. But I'd expect him to continually get better throughout the year as he regains his 100% health. So something to watch there. And then Matt Zollers broke his ankle. Not great, folks. Although he was running quite a bit too before that happened. You can see the 23 carries for 221 yards, looking pretty athletic. I believe he hit I don't know, it was 20.8 miles per hour. Somebody, I think it was posted. I think Real Analytics may have posted one of his runs or something. But the passing efficiency, it's not great. played on a really bad team, and that's the only sample we get for him. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean,
I will go ahead and say I think Max Up's credited him for 3 touchdowns at least, so a little bit better than what 11 has him here, but still.
I see. Gotcha. Well, his season's done. Unfortunately, we won't see him until Missouri, maybe spring game, but I'm not sure how long a broken ankle takes. That's unfortunate for him. Another guy just wanted to update. Everyone did not play in the Elite 11, so he's not on this graphic, and we will go ahead and remove the graphic. But Bryce Underwood, nation's leader, QB1. I think he's our QB1. Everybody's QB1. He broke the Michigan career passing touchdown record with 125. And he's kind of running more this year. It looks like they're designing some more specific runs. In their opener, he ran for 177 yards, had a 50-yard touchdown that got called back. This is all more than the entire season last year. So we love to see it. He's very athletic. He has a 97 star index, would be the 3rd highest star index in all of college football, I believe, if he was currently in the college ranks. 59 miles per hour velo. Like, he's got all the tools you want. If he's going to run a little bit more, that's hella exciting for Bryce Underwood. I think he's like the dude over the last couple classes. Also, just wanted to mention here, JK Sagapolutele. He's looking real good on those stats that I had up there earlier. I can go ahead and bring it back, actually. Looking really nice. 11 touchdowns, 0 picks, 9 for 109 on the ground. He's beefy. His frame, he's like a big dude, and he looks, not Jared Lorenzen, but he looks a little beefy. 56 velo. I think his passes are still a little loopy, but I know that at least David is kind of a fan. A guy to definitely watch. He was plus 62 spots in the On3 update. So definitely a guy who's kind of rising there. And then also Julian Lewis just absolutely destroying things. I mean, 78% completion, 1,000 yards, most on this list, I believe, behind, I guess, Bryce Baker. 18 touchdowns to 1 pick. Still not running. That's not his game, but he's going to be a distributor at the college level. I think talking off camera, just for brevity's sake, we are all still have the same opinion of Julian Lewis, though. This is expected. He's awesome at what he does, but just doesn't really have that like next level NFL profile. All right. Moving on to some notable performances. I think number one, let's not bury the lead here. Alvin Henderson, running back, headed to Auburn at the moment, having a just ridiculous Derrick Henry senior year type shit. I mean, we are seeing a potentially historic thing going on. He's already made history. David, what did he do last week? If you didn't see on Twitter, folks, David, do you have off the top of your head his stats?
The game was 80-78. I think he had 40 carries for 440 yards and
10
touchdowns.
10 touchdowns
conversions. Yeah.
So, Henderson is absolutely insane right now. He broke the Alabama State record for touchdowns. 324 yards per game so far, I think. Derrick Henry senior season, which is legendary, was 327 yards per game. So, I mean, he's tracking with the GOAT. He's not the same size as Henderson, but, the more I look at not the same size as Henry. The more I look at Henderson, the more I think I'm going to have to rank him high. His tape is pretty good. His top speed is excellent. And he's not that small. He's 195, pushing 200-ish. He's not 175 or 180. I mean, this guy's, not teeny tiny. I think he's big enough. I think in college we can be pretty excited. And, there's not a lot of receiving on his tape or in his stats. So that would be the main concern. But I think Alvin Henderson needs to be pretty high on anybody's rankings because when you're breaking all-time type records, you got to pay attention. I mean, it's insane. So that's Alvin Henderson. He's a riser for me. Matt, Jerome Miles looked pretty good. Fill us in a little bit on Jerome Miles. He's got kind of some news coming up tomorrow, right?
Yeah, he will be committing tomorrow. Well, at the time of this recording, I believe this. I don't know if it's coming out, but this is being recorded on Tuesday of this week. So on Wednesday, he will be committing. He recently had a fantastic performance against IMG, 5 catches, 125 yards, 3 touchdowns, which is against the 6th ranked defense in the country, according to the Massey ratings. And then he unfortunately did get injured. I believe it was a knee injury. He'll be out several weeks, which you don't want to see because I believe last year he had a hip injury as well. So now you're kind of stacking two lower bodies, which you don't love. But we're talking about someone who's definitely had a very quick rise in the recruiting rankings and getting a lot of offers near the tail end of the summer here. USC offer coming in late, and many are expecting him to end up committing to USC.
Yeah, the old last official. I think he even bumped up the commitment after the USC official. It was supposed to be in October, and now he's doing it now. So, like, that's pretty much dead, dead in the water. He's going to USC if history, holds true. David, can you update us on Keelan Russell and Lodzier Brooks? Guy we haven't really talked about, but he seems to kind of be a riser and a Bama commit. So you always like that.
Yeah, a couple of Bama boys here. Keelan Russell played really well, I thought. I watched that full game against St. Francis. St. Francis is absolutely stacked on defense. They have college players all over the place. Fourth-ranked defense on Massey ratings on three. But he was efficient, 20 for 26, 265 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Did something on the ground too, 9 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown as well. But he was under tons of pressure. Really good player. Wish he had maybe a bigger arm and was bigger in general, but lots to like there. And then Lodzier Brooks. I think I've been sleeping on him a little bit. He broke the New Jersey State record for career receiving touchdowns, which was like 54. I think he's at like 57 now. Should also break the yards record at some point this season. But he's got 17 receptions, 476 yards, 6 TDs through 3 games at 28 yards per reception. He was actually he had the number 2 play on SportsCenter. Go check it out on Twitter. You can probably find it. Just how springy he is. Like, the guy's got serious vertical. Really impressive. He's actually a little bit bigger than I thought too. So I think that On3 has him listed at 185. So really interesting player.
Yeah, and you've got here on the show sheet, Isaiah Bond vibes, who's popping off for Texas, looking like a potential first-round pick. Guy we all liked, I think, coming out a couple years ago. So Bama reloading there with those 2 guys. I'm going to take the bad news train here and just update a few things that aren't so exciting, aren't so good. DeCorian Moore, who's, we really liked him, liked his tape, thought he was a stud, but he is currently second on his own team in production, played the same amount of games. You don't like to see that. Derek Meadows still not producing. We all were like, why the heck is this guy a 5-star? This makes no sense. He still is not producing. 9, 137, and 2 through 4 games. That should be a single game for a stud receiver. That is through 4 games for Meadows. He's averaging 34.3 yards per game. That is 3rd on his own team, I believe. Big red flags there. Madden Ayamaleva transferred from his high school after 1 game. And he also dropped 123 spots on On3 in their recent updates. So he's trending the wrong way while his brother is ascending, and Tennessee looks absolutely unstoppable, with Nicholas Imaleva doing nice things in Knoxville. And then finally, Akili Smith Jr., 6 touchdowns, 4 picks. We did not love him as a prospect this summer, and he's got a 94 QBR in 4 games. That is not what you want to see from a 4-star, QB. And I'm just going to run through this in the show here. We've got Tramel Jones and Ryan Montgomery, both out for the year with ACL tears. Tramel Jones committed to FSU. Ryan Montgomery committed to UGA. You won't hear anything from them for the rest of the year. That's a big-time bummer because Jones, at least, was having a really nice season so far. Those were both Elite 11 participants as well. We talked about Jerome Miles. And then the other thing is Malachi Toney, a little bit of news here. He has reclassified into the class of 2025. So he was 2026. Now he's 2025. He's got a big jump in production this year, over 100 yards per game so far. And if you'll remember, he had like a little bit of a viral clip back when American Heritage beat Los Alamitos with Malachi Nelson. And he was a freshman. I think he caught the game winner on national TV. And when he was producing like that as a freshman, he was already on my radar. He hasn't quite hit that supersonic, momentum just yet, but this could be the year. Over 100 yards per game so far, and he's got bloodlines NFL. His dad played at West Virginia, was a returner in the NFL. So keep an eye on Malachi Toney. We'll have to evaluate, see where we put him in this class, because I think that's a recent development that he is in the 2025 class. Okay, that was a bit of a whirlwind. Next show this week is going to be some hidden gems now that we have the huge stats database that Matt has so amazingly put together for us. And we look to mine some underreported guys who we think could be popping this season.